to perform their duties inside the halls of government. So maybe it's okay to the American people that there are liars out there. Then they wouldn't care about the fake news produced by Russia either. You see, we can't have a bunch of liars on one side complaining about the fact that somehow Russia made up some kind of false, bogus story. You mean lied about something? And complain about it. I mean, that's so hypocritical, it's insane. We got to take a quick break, folks. We've gone long in this first segment. We're going to continue on this story here. Continue talking about this. Alex Jones is going to be talked about as well because he did a recent interview. And be right back, folks.
Don't go anywhere now.
John will be right back right after this.
Yes, he will. Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey man, you're listening to the John LeBang Show, man.
The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens.
Feel like you're getting any smarter yet?
Yeah.
What is the news story, or the many news stories that was produced by Russia, completely fake news, had nothing to do with reality? They made it up just so Hillary would lose. I want you to look around and find out for yourself, because I can't find the news-worthy items that were lies, that changed the election, and that they were produced by Russia. Apparently, Facebook knows this. Facebook knows which ones it was. Twitter does. YouTube does. YouTube, really? Because we brought them up. What's up with you, YouTube? In one day, you're going to take away 78 of my subscribers in one day. I produced 5 videos last week. 5 videos, all of them very short. Every single one of them had 100% likes on it. Everyone. There were no dislikes on any of it. No thumbs down at all. Yet I lose that many subscribers in one day because they all left in one day, about 2 days after my last video. And the great thing about all that is when you look at the analyticals, you can see that I've gained 4 subscribers in the last 2 days. Now, how can I see if I lost 70 some subscribers? It would have a little arrow in my analytics going down, a little red arrow going down, going, ooh, you're losing people. But I wasn't losing people. 100% like on every one of my videos. You combine them all together, and it's 100% likes. Those 5 videos, 4 of them were exclusive 9/11 videos taken of the aftermath of 9/11 that nobody has seen before. Very few people have seen because I have the exclusive footage. The other video was just a replay of last week's segment of me talking about 9/11 and the numbers that are coincidentally popping up. that related to this year's 9/11 anniversary. I didn't tell people anything besides, hey, here's the coincidences we got. We got a lot of 3s, we got a lot of 17s. Nothing offensive in those videos. Nothing was a lie. Everything was there, provable. In fact, if you look in the links, you can read the articles that talk about it. Mainstream articles, folks. See, I use the mainstream articles because eventually they either tell you the truth when you get to the bottom of the story, or you can prove they are outright twisting the information to suit a specific agenda. I mean, a perfect case of this, and I'm not defending Mr. Trump on this, but a perfect case of this is when Trump was talking about MS-13, that vicious gang from Mexico, raping people. You know, those people that rape and kill. He called them animals because we had caught a few and they were locked up in cages. And the mainstream manufactured news, the elite media, twisted the story, left out entire sentences prior to the word animals. These people are animals, or whatever the exact quote was. And said Mr. Trump was saying that about all immigrants. All illegal immigrants. All these people in cages. The mainstream media didn't even have the intellectual honesty to tell you that they separated not only the kids from the parents, but they separated the men and the women. Men were in one cage, women were in another cage, and the kids were in a third cage. So they weren't really separating the kids from their parents. They were separating the kids away from the adults. Not all of them were their parents, and a good portion of them were MS-13 members, vicious, organized criminals who kill and rape women, who kill people just for the heck of it, just because they like to do it. And the mainstream dishonest media went ahead and talked about how the children were in cages and never explained to you fully why they separated the kids from the adults. And that was because you can't put a bunch of adult men in the same holding facilities because we don't have hotels for all these illegal immigrants who are coming here illegally. We don't have 4-star hotels for everybody. So they work with the facilities they have. And sometimes the capacity becomes so big, so large, it overshoots the capacity of the building. But I'm digressing again. But it all relates together. Right? I can prove the mainstream manufactured elite media who think they're better than all of us, who think they know better because they have the big budgets and they have degrees and they're journalists and they're professional journalists and some of them may have awards. These people, you have to believe them no matter what. And even if they're frickin' lying to you, it's the truth. Even if they're twisting the information, it's not fake news. It's not anything but honest reporting by the mainstream manufactured news. Mainstream manufactured news. The elite media who twist stories to fit an agenda on a regular basis, daily. They twist these stories. They're having a field day because Donald Trump is in office. The man who was once a Democrat, who says he sides with Democrats on a lot of issues, but this dishonest media can sit there and produce half-truths, twisted news stories, focused on one specific part, omitting all this other relevant information. They can do that and get away with it because they're the elite media. They're better than all of us. They've been trained to be a journalist. They are paid. They've got a degree. They're on big networks. Yet they haven't been able to produce an actual story that Russia produced to affect the election. Some kind of fake news that's all we hear in the mainstream media. Russia produced, that's why they're dumping stuff on Facebook and why Facebook is taking measures to stop fake news and false news. YouTube's just either totally throwing you off their platform, or as they done to the Corbett Report, who's one of the best independent reporting operations out there. James Corbett and all the people he works with, man, their information is solid as a rock. And they've been shadow banned. We won't even talk about the banger and what they've done to me. Because I'm not the important one in all this. I don't like making everything about me. But I'm part of all this. Yet then we have the side on the alternative media that they're using to block the rest of us, the real whack jobs in the alternative media, the real far-fetched to the wide out edges of reality. Because they don't even deal in reality. You know, the Mandela effectors and the flat earthers and the Sandy Hook conspirators that think the event never happened. They had crisis actors and all that. Maybe they did. I don't know. But what I do know is the event happened, and it's sure a heck of a lot easier to take a kid with some mental problems and twist him a little bit, get him focused on something, and then unleash him to do some really bad things. MK Ultra experiments are public knowledge. Mind control is not some kind of theory. People have put it into practice, and all you have to do, if you really want to find the truth, that's you in the mainstream media, you in the alternative media, you, the average listener, all you have to do is go look up MK Ultra and what they did in those experiments. If you don't want to do it, if you don't want to do that work, and if you just want to grab something off of Snopes or Snopes, I'm sorry. Snopes. I mean, it's funny how that worked out. If you just want to believe MSNBC or CNN, then we got a lot of trouble here. Speaking of CNN, we were talking about the fact that, the fake news with Russia. What about the DNC rigging the election the primary against Bernie Sanders? CNN asked Senator Elizabeth Warren, one of the possible future presidential candidates in the Democrat Party. They asked her if Mrs. Clinton's contest against Democratic rival Bernie Sanders was rigged. And you know what she said? Yes. That's on CNN, folks. That's not John LeBang bringing it up. The BBC reported it. The Political reported it. That's not fake news. That wasn't produced by the Russians. That's what kills me about this whole thing with Trump. Here we have every Democrat nut job out there, and they've